Alright, there's enough of that. Greetings to all of those who have shown up. This is going to be a behind-the-scenes look and tour of the whole discarded settlement that I built. I'm going to show you guys what the actual place really looks like with everything all lit up. And then I'm actually going to show you more or less how I built the movie, which is what we got going on up here in Adobe Premiere Pro. And if you've never seen this program before, it's quite intimidating, but fairly simple to use once you figure it all out. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the game, and we're going to jump right into looking at the actual settlement and what it looks like. And greetings to you, Louise, and GameTown Walkthrough, and Just J33. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, excuse me while I plug in my controller. One thing I forgot to do. So this is also a Q&A. You guys can ask any kinds of questions you want about the movie, as well as about me. I know a lot of you have been quite curious about me for some time, so if there's any questions you guys want to ask, feel free. And if I don't feel like answering it, I will not. So, this should all look pretty familiar for those of you who have seen the movie. If you haven't, I would suggest you probably not watch this until you've seen it, because I don't really want to spoil anything for you. But if you don't care about spoilers, then it will not matter. Alright, so to make things easier, we are going to make it daytime so we can actually see everything. We're going to go into world manipulation. I'm not worried about the weather because that'll fix itself, because I'm actually going to go into build mode once we get the right time. We'll set it to 9 a.m. That should give us plenty of sunshine and light. So it's lighter now, so I'm going to go ahead and go into build mode, and boom, now we have blue skies, and you can see all the fog is still here. That is all fog that I put in place myself. Let me see if I can grab onto one of them so I can show you guys. Go check out the ones up here. So they do have their own little highlight boxes. They're a little tricky to find once I actually put them in place, because I don't... There they are. These little guys, they're from CVC. And I placed them strategically all around this place in order to basically hide the surroundings and keep the entire Boston city line from being seen. So as you can see, when we're down here, you know, any direction pretty much you look in, I had fog put in place. And the fact that it was also nighttime and raining and all that made it really hard to see anything other than what I wanted you to see. It was basically me creating the illusion. So now you can see here is the boat that we come in on that has the crash. This bad boy is upside down in the water. This is the USS Constitution. And I added the fire and this little section of rock here. This is actually a CVC cave rock arc, whatever you want to call it. That's essentially what it crashed into. And as you can see, we got some tires here because I used the tire bonfires because it's got that nice smoky, fiery look to it. So definitely came in handy with that. Of course, you wouldn't really see too much of it because it was nighttime and my character was only starting. Let's turn off our highlight. There we go. Right about here. I actually had them start underneath the water after the crash and come up this way. So, and as you can see, I'm still using my female character. In the game, of course, or I should say in the movie, it was the male character. When we come in, we pick up the lantern here and we turn on the flashlight. I went through several mods trying to find the right kind of flashlight that would give me just a very narrow beam of light, essentially, and almost look like an actual lantern. So you can see, like, there's the beam pattern, and it only really directs light where I wanted it to. So we're going to jump back into build mode. Come on up here again. And so, yes, up here, I had to do the same thing. I had to put the fog all around this to try and hide everything, because I didn't really want anything on this island to be visible except for basically, essentially, this straight path leading to where the house is. And the flashing light that you see when we're up here and we look out in that direction, that was actually done in post-production. That was a lens flare effect in Adobe Premiere Pro, so very handy. And same thing, so down here, come down this way, you actually have the path, and this was all set way ahead of time, obviously, so that I could guide myself the direction I wanted to in order to get to the gate without seeing anything. So I put fog on both sides of my so-called path. These are all trees that I put in place through CVC to get this really gnarly, nasty, haunted house look to it. Yeah, and then so this is the actual house itself. It's actually quite pretty from the outside. You wouldn't think that the inside was going to be all, you know, nasty and scary and disgusting and whatnot. Right down here is our greenhouse. Got the nice little sloped window there. And I'm using actually one of my favorite brick textures in order to build this. This kind of like, I don't know, burgundy red, dark red textured brick. As you can see, there's our little ghoul friend in there. We're gonna meet him in a little bit after we're done, but you know, if we come up here, you can see the whole rest of the island is basically the same. The only thing I did was just get rid of all the trees that were here initially and replace them with scarier looking trees. As you can see, I didn't even come over here and touch any of this because I didn't need to, but all the other buildings and anything that might be visible I got rid of, and thankfully with it being nighttime and dark and whatnot, none of it was ever visible through the windows. So the windows actually do a really good job of hiding the outside world. So this is the view from above. We have our faux fireplaces. They actually do connect to where the fireplaces are inside the building. Just little details like that that weren't necessary because you're never going to see them, but I always do anyway because it's just the way that I build. So here we have the front yard, the gate and everything all in place. And so now we're going to go ahead and head inside and take a look at everything. So you can see I still got my flashlight on. We don't really need that. So the toy soldier. I wrote an entire script for this movie, and I was going to use the toy soldier to some effect, but once I actually started filming this, I kind of changed just about everything. I kind of threw the script out the window because I am not an actor. I'm not even close to being good as a voice actor, so I kind of, I don't know, I recorded like 100 different lines and they all sounded terrible, and I had my wife listen to it and she's like, no, you cannot do that, it sounds awful. And so her idea was to basically take out all the dialogue, not even use the AI thing that I was using for my dialogue to try to put the lines in, because I did that secondary and it just sounded too fake because you can't make the AI have emotions, basically. But essentially, this was supposed to lead to the fact that there was a kid here at some point, and I think also I was going to have it to the point where I think I was going to pick this up or make it disappear, and this little guy was supposedly keeping the monster out or something. I don't know. None of it really started to make a whole lot of sense, so I just kind of tossed it and just kind of left it there just because I thought it was funny and weird. So when we come in, one of the first real neat effects that I was able to create was this door closing on its own. As you can see, it is open. It is not an auto-closing door. That was just very, very good editing post-production to make that happen. I basically had to blend two different videos into one. The first one being where the character looks this way, then I had to stop it, stop the filming, and then over here, close the door, and then try to match up my angle almost perfectly. And once I got into post-production, it actually worked out perfectly. And that was just, you know, trick of the camera, essentially. Everything was very specifically choreographed. Like I said, I did have a script and kept everything in mind as to, like, you know, looking over here, I was going to suddenly hear a sound and look over this way and then come out this way to investigate. And everything was just done using very specific timing. I don't think I had anything happen over in here other than, oh no, I'm sorry, we had the baby thing. This was very popular. Everybody really liked that. I got a lot of comments from a lot of different people. And everybody said that this was one of the creepiest, spookiest parts, which I thought it was very corny and cliche, and everybody was just like, oh, I can't believe he did that. But I actually had a lot of people love the little surprise of the skull and potion book in there and whatnot. I forget what decoration thing that comes from. Yeah, of course, it's not going to tell me, but whatever. It's in that whole section of which things. I think that's in Creative Clutter, probably, where you can find that. That's where also this little guy is that you don't really see too much of in the movie. And then over here was the most painstaking part of the entire movie, putting together that walking shadow guy. That was probably about 5 seconds worth of filming, and it took me, I'm not even joking, like 4 to 6 hours to put that together because I kept trying to make it so that the guy was going to start walking here and walk the entire time coming this way towards the creepy little tricycle that you heard moving around earlier. And it just wouldn't work because my camera, the motion of the character was just too much. If I had stood still the entire time, I probably could have done it. And so my solution after about 4 or 5 hours of trying to get that whole thing to work was just to have the character disappear and then reappear, disappear and reappear. And it ended up working out pretty good in the long run. I would have preferred to have him walking this way, but, you know, it is what it is. There's only so much I can do. I'm not a professional, I don't know, video editor or anything like that. I just have access to pretty good software and the ability and know-how and how to use it. And so decorating the insides of some of these walls too was actually quite tricky because I didn't want everything to look the same. I wanted it to be kind of as the further you get into the house, the worse the condition gets. Like I wanted everything in the beginning to seem kind of pristine and beautiful, and then as you go further in and your sanity starts to basically fade, I want the house to fade along with it. And so that's kind of what I did, is I kept everything down this way, like all nice and pretty and whatnot. The hardest part was trying to find wallpaper that fit in all of the spaces, and that's what I'm trying to find right now to see if I have any in here. These kind of work, I think. Yeah, you can see actually these don't fit. So let me turn my highlighting back on so you can see which ones, because I just kind of grabbed wallpapers that kind of worked. Actually, no, I think that is the right one. Those must be upstairs, so when we get to that, I'll get to it. My second big edit was when the monster supposedly comes in here. I had like the whole thing. That was basically just like came over here and then just stopped the game and then restarted it in order to capture that whole effect of him hiding, and I just basically faded to black in order to kind of create that effect of closing your eyes and acting like a little kid and keeping the monster away. Same thing over here. This was the whole fainting thing comes in handy when he goes and he passes out on the floor, and then I make that disappear. So once again, he's questioning his own sanity. Then this is one of my favorite things that I put together. We have the body with the dripping blood. Um, that was one of those things that I was just kind of, I wanted to have like this whole bunch of like bloody mess all around, like all these dead bodies in here, and I couldn't create that effect. Because as soon as I would start to like do stuff, eventually the blood does kind of fade. So like if I um, yeah, do something like that, I got blood splatter, but after a short while it does kind of disappear. And then I also discovered later on too that I forgot I had the cannibal perk, and if I do that it makes an even bigger, bloodier mess, etc. So back over here into the kitchen, shortcut, I kind of just threw a whole bunch of stuff in here, and then this is just regular dripping water that I put in there to kind of create the ripple effect, and then I used the water drip coming out of the neck there to kind of create the effect that we have some blood draining out of this body. Let me see, what are you guys saying? Tell my wife, oh, she's a harsh critic. No, she's not a harsh critic. She was just absolutely truthful. After I had created the movie and I had her watch it without it, she came up to me with like this huge smile, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's amazing! Everybody's gonna love it." And I thought she was gonna come to me and be like, "No, it's terrible. It's not. Nobody's gonna like it, whatever." But no, she was actually very honest, and that's exactly what I wanted. So um, let's see. Having done some basic stop animation, I can well believe it took hours to do. Yeah, yeah. Um, Building this was one thing, and then actually putting all of the animations together to create all of the effects. Yeah, it was very, very painstaking, but well worth it, and I was very happy with the end results. So here we're getting pretty close to where the end was, and again, I wanted this to be as dilapidated as possible. Like this is just, just like this person's sanity, everything here is crumbling. And that's why we have all these bricks and leaves and whatnot. And I made it so that the character approached this door, which was going to take them too close to where the end boss, if you want to call it, was hiding. But once again, it was playing some trickery and was like, no, you got to come this way first because I have more surprises for you. And so, first door here. This seems like a normal kind of empty, boring bedroom that doesn't really have much in it except for this, dilapidated bed. And then I hid this guy up here. This is the pack mannequin, so I grab him out there so you can actually see. This is what I was shooting at. And again, that was a whole stop whatever trick thing where I froze my character in a very specific spot, entered into build mode, then made him disappear, and then took another shot at him, which I was very happy when I do that kind of stuff, that it creates like that whole poofy dust effect up there on its own, so that actually kind of helped to add to it. Yeah, cool stuff. And so that was just it. I just basically went in and said, alright, goodbye. Then in here, this was a pain in the butt because this is actually two completely different textures, I guess you want to call it. This is a large water planter, and the water itself doesn't move. And if I try to put this body into the water, it would glitch and it would start bouncing and jumping around like crazy and whatnot. So I eventually was able to find a way to get her in there so that she looked like she was laying in the bathtub. And again, she was supposed to have a whole bunch of blood all over her, and I had even like cannibalized the body beforehand to get the blood splatter, but it didn't work. It didn't stick around, so that was the end of that. And there's nothing up there but a basic empty void. I just kind of hid everything behind all these walls and whatnot. So in here, we have our little ghoul friend, and we have cockroaches, a whole bunch of miniature rad roaches just kind of wandering around. I believe those come from CVC as well. Yeah, CVC roaches. And then again, this is a feral ghoul chair, which you get from like raider packs and some of the different mods that I use and whatnot. And so obviously this was going to be the parents' bedroom, and our little, I don't know, villain was very unhappy with the parents most of all because the little girl that the teddy bear belonged to, they took her away. And so the teddy bear was not happy, and so of course this room is the most damaged and dilapidated and whatnot. So, I don't know if you can kill this thing. No, doesn't do anything. So anyway, yeah, you just have like the bed in here, and I threw all kinds of garbage on it, and had cockroaches and little buggies all over the place to basically make it like, this is where they took out all their anger, destroyed the door and whatnot. And then finally we come to the most pristine room in the whole place that's been the most cared for, and that's the, I don't know, little girl's room. She's got all like, nice little bed and her stuffed aminals and all that. I wanted this to be as nice as possible so that it basically showed just how much our little instigator here really cared about I don't know, the little girl that she got taken away and got all angry. And so, as you've seen probably from the credits and announcements I've made, this little guy here was voiced by GameTown Walkthrough. Many, many, many thanks to you for lending your voice and your acting skills. Phenomenal. There were many other, well, I shouldn't say many other, but there were other lines that she had recorded that I was going to put into it that was in my initial script. But I had to take some of them out just because the vocal range didn't quite match. They were both recorded at separate times, and it was just going to seem too forced, I guess you can say. Like, it just wasn't working. There's a little cockroach that escapes in and out here. And my voice is actually in the movie. I voiced a character right in the beginning, and I did a couple of moans and groans when the person was getting up from passing out and whatnot. And my wife also did a voiceover as well. She had one line in the movie when we're in the kitchen and we hear the footsteps up above and there's a voice that says, please help me, and whatever it is, that was her. And then my voice was the crew or I should say one of the crewmates of the ship yelling, straight ahead, look out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That was me. So as you can see here, we have some of these weird textures I was talking about. The doors and the wallpaper don't quite match. And then, again, up on the second floor, let's go up into here. I think we saw it in... Nope, not in here. Where did I use that? One of these... Oh, here we go. So, as you can see, we have curved windows here, but we have straight wallpaper, which I'm trying to grab a hold of, but... Yeah, we can't. There we go. Because I wanted this whole thing to kind of match so that I could use some of the textures up here, and I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna cover it and make it work, and there you go. That's how I was able to kind of do that, and most likely because of how dark it was, nobody probably would have ever known that I had done stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of things I had to do in order to put this whole thing together to really create the effect and the ambiance that I had wanted. Oh yes, the silence, yeah. That was the other thing when the monster came by the kitchen. I made it so that the music had completely stopped and you heard nothing but the rain, because I wanted that whole startling effect of like the sudden, I guess, cheap jump scare crash type thing. I'm sorry if you're using one of those. I try not to, but yeah, I used it. But beforehand, I wanted to kind of go into like the movie Halloween, like the original one from I think it's 1978 or whatever it is, where they use a lot of silence to really kind of create that effect of eeriness and suspense and whatnot. And so that's kind of what I did. So, as soon as you approach this door and basically open it, suddenly it gets all nice and quiet, and you're like, oh no, what's going to happen? And then you hear the banging and the crashing of the monster coming, which of course you never see the monster, you just hear it. And the obvious reason for that is because I cannot make that teddy bear animated, and I didn't want anybody to see the teddy bear until the very end and be like, that's the monster? Because, it's an unsuspecting little teddy bear, essentially. And so, initially, my first thought when I first started doing this whole project was to put in a couple of Deathclaws and have them running around in here. But again, to me, it just didn't seem like it fit, and then I decided to do the teddy bear. The only person who knew about the teddy bear was just my wife. I didn't even tell GameTown Walkthrough um, who she was going to be voicing. I just asked for the lines, and she'd asked, you know, who her character is going to be, and I was like, no, I cannot tell you. So, now that we've done that, let's come on over here. Now, in the very beginning, we have the interior of the ship, and that is located here, behind these little doors. That is also part of the mod that allows me to build the ship over there, the USS Constitution. It actually comes with doors that'll lead you inside, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. Alright, so now this is the actual interior of the ship where we start out. We actually have swinging lanterns. I do not remember what mod that comes from. I always forget, but I was so glad that I had them because it actually creates the illusion, however subtle it was, that the ship is actually rocking back and forth as it was sailing. So here is where we start. We were sitting here, and my book apparently is missing, and we also have a floating plate. So this must have been just before I'd done my little final touches at the end. But yeah, this is where the character is sitting, and to create the whole crashing ship effect, and as you can see we actually are in some old-time outfit, I just went, just kind of shook my mouse around like that, and added some sound effects afterwards. So, you know, you got the whole interior of the ship. Like, you can build in here as much as you want. This is actually like, you know, settlement construction in here. This is how I was able to get all these lanterns in here and whatnot. As well as the water. That was actually a huge pain in the butt. I was using SOE for that. So we'll go on over here. Where am I going? Structures. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, it should have been here. Just missed it. There it is, SOE. And then if we come on over to... this actually is not anything that I used to build this. This is just some assets from in here. But went into the pool and then water. And I actually, if you look at the very beginning when we first surface of the water from coming up from, I think, that level, I had a waterfall and a splash, and from one angle they look like they met up, but actually when you look at it when I'm, like, just before I get hit in the head, you can see, like, the waterfall's over here and the splash is, like, way over there. And then that was something I couldn't fix, because once we actually start putting water in here, I put that, like, I can't walk through it until I exit out. Then all of a sudden it becomes like regular water, so it actually was really difficult in order to build this whole entire thing in here filled with water the way that it was. The lucky thing with the water is that it stays deep, so now you can see, like, I'm underwater. You can't see it here until you actually walk into it. So it's actually pretty cool that it does that. I don't know how far down it goes, but it does. It could also be a hindrance, like when I've put like I don't know, like fountains and whatnot on my castle builds. They end up extending way down below the floor, so that's why I usually have like really, really high ceilings and whatnot. Oh yeah, it could be G2M. That's quite possible. Yeah, I found it initially for when I was building the house because I wanted some sort of moving light, I guess, and I don't know, it like escaped me at one point, and I couldn't find it for several days until I finally was able to discover where the heck it was hidden. And yeah, I think it might have been something like G2M where those lights were. And I'll show you where the other one is. It's actually hidden in a part of the house that is not accessible through anywhere. It was just there to create the effect of light being in the house so that we could see that there was some sort of life there, I guess you can say. Let's see how long it takes to load out of this. Hopefully we don't crash. There we go. Alright, so let's make this faster. Let's just zip on over back to the house. So the first moving lamp that I had was this little guy right here. Stuck behind this this wall. Serves no purpose other than to create this kind of moving light there and give you some semblance of life being in this house when there really isn't. Just a maniacal teddy bear that wants to eat you. Alright, so there we go. There's our live tour. Oh, I forgot all about this guy here. Walked right past him 100 times. Yeah, this when I was first clearing up the island, I didn't want to lose this because I thought it was really cool and really creepy looking. And I remembered the statues here from, I think it's USO, and there we go. And this is basically all he is like a statue, like he's not attached in any kind of way. I just kind of floated him up in the air and made it look like somebody had hung somebody just for, you know, whatever purposes. But unfortunately, like, he doesn't swing or move or anything like that, so we didn't get any kind of effect like that. But, you know, it's supposed to be the first, like, really creepy thing that you see when you approach, and the fact that his arms are back there like that, it made it look like his hands were tied behind his back, and then somebody strung him up from the old swing set there. So that was one of my super happy moments there, that I was able to get something like that to work out. The lighting effect of this is just nothing more than a whole bunch of these lights put in place, and then I just set up a regular generator with a little computer, which I hid the computer in the generator, and this basically tells it to go on and off for, you know, 1 or 2 seconds at a time, and now we have our effect of a lighthouse. Up. Alright, so now we're gonna exit the game, and I'll give you guys an actual inside look as to what it's like to put together a movie like this. So again, this is Adobe Premiere Pro, professional video editing software essentially, and so every little thing that you guys see down here, these are all different sounds and videos and whatnot, and this is basically what it's like to put together a movie. You have all these different little things. It's not like you just plop something in here and you just move along. No, you actually have to very precisely space these little bad boys out. Yeah, so this is only part 1. I actually had to break this up into 2 parts, and so the first part, let's see, where does this end? Oh, right after we pass out coming into the house. I'll go ahead and show you what this little clip looks like. It's going to take a second to render, especially since I got everything running. But we have the heartbeat effect down here, we have the music, there's the heavy breathing sound effect, and then there's also the creepy little girl voice that does her whole whisper thing and whatnot. So you have all these different assets here working all at the same exact time, including this guy here, which this is the blur effect. So as soon as that kicks in, everything kind of goes blurry and makes it look like our vision is coming out. So I had mentioned that my voice is in here. So we get past the little reading of our script, which the journal entry was to throw you guys off as much as I possibly could as to what the movie was going to be about. I started leading towards like vampires and Dracula and whatnot, the Demeter, all that kind of stuff, just so that everybody expects some sort of vampire or something to pop up. But no, it was just a teddy bear. So after we have that, comes into view where we're inside the ship, and we're going to go ahead and play the clip from, right about here. You guys actually get to hear my voice. I'll point it out. That right there is me. So to achieve that voice, I covered my microphone and then yelled, and then I used all kinds of whatchamacallit, effects in here to change the pitch and the tone so that it wouldn't sound like me at all, because I was trying to do many different voices in the beginning, including this one, and that was basically how I had done everything. I just put it in here, put all kinds of effects on it to make it sound, you know, not like me. We'll go ahead and check it out again. And I also threw in a little, I don't know, English accent to that, which that's a big reason why I did not do any of the dialogue, because I was trying to do the most subtlest of English accents, and it was just not working. I just kept fading in and out from like my regular voice into a British accent, and it just sounded awful, and that's why my wife was like, you gotta get rid of that, it just is terrible. To show you what I mean, you see all these little clips right here. Essentially 90% of this is all of the dialogue that was originally going to be in the movie. These are all multiple outtakes and whatnot, and just it was awful. And I don't even know why I have most of them. I probably should have just deleted them because they're basically all totally useless. But yeah, And then I used all these other special effects, sound effects, and whatnot from various channels that I had given credit to in the end of the movie. Um, Especially, I think it's Laura or Lara's horror sounds or whatever it's called. She's got a great channel for that kind of stuff, and so that's what I ended up using a lot of her stuff for. Um, but essentially, everything you're seeing right here is all the different effects and whatnot that I had to use in order to pull this off. We have all these video clips, random stuff that I grabbed from YouTube in order to make some of it happen. Here's like the glowing eyes effect, which will bring that up. So nothing going on here other than just some glowing eyes, and I was able to pop that into the movie. This is the walking ghost guy. This is what the original creator used it for, is a dark or hotel hallway, etc. And then if we switch forward, it turns into a green screen effect here, and all I had to do was turn off the green screen, and this was the guy that was walking towards us. And then I just made him a little more transparent to make him fit more into the scene. And that's basically all he was, is just that little guy right there. Sailing ships effects, footsteps, all that kind of stuff is all in here, including the music. The music really helped to set the tone. These are, I think, just about every song that I used in that whole entire thing in order to kind of create the ambiance. Let me see, where's, I think this one plays at the very end. Yeah, this is at the very end of it. As soon as I heard this song, I absolutely fell in love with it because it was just perfect that it fit into this whole creepy child-like vibe and whatnot, and it was just perfect. And I always feel like the music or lack of music always kind of makes a horror movie. I really don't like the typical standard stuff that a lot of people are using nowadays. There's that sound that I used often, and then this one was the very like anxious feeling music. Good stuff. I mean, and this was all provided by YouTube as well. Like, they have this whole section for content creators to use different songs and whatnot, so you don't get hit with like licensing fees and whatnot. And so it works out perfectly that I was able to do that. Let me see if I have it here. I think this is the original script. Yes, this is the original script. As you can see, I had all these things here where it says Thomas. That was all these lines that he was going to have, that he was going to be saying. And I think I recorded probably like half of them, and they were just all absolutely terrible. Then down here we have GameTown walkthroughs lines right here, as well as some other stuff that I had her record that was kind of an afterthought. I think we can actually check out some of that, and I can show you some of the voiceovers. Here we go, voiceover. So, yeah, most of this stuff here is all the different voices that I had done through AI, basically. And I had done 2 separate voices to read for the journal.
November 13th.
So this was the first original one, and I just didn't like it. It sounded
my business in Europe
too,
has finally concluded,
I don't know,
and I
too
will
clean
soon be
and
with
too unscary. And then we went to this guy here,
November 13th,
which ended up being the actual voice of
1897.
Thomas through like the whole thing.
At
So,
last, I am headed home. My business in Europe
and that took
has
a
finally
long
concluded.
time in order to find the right AI to voice the character and whatnot. So, here we have some of GameTown walkthroughs takes. I don't know what's what, so we'll play a couple of these. Maybe. Oh, that's right. I have to use a different program. Give me 1 second. Because I use Winamp old school, because I'm old.
I was discarded like a piece of trash.
And so I was going to use that as kind of throwing the movie title in there, but unfortunately, like I said, the pitch of the voice didn't quite match. So if we go and check out these other ones here,
Isn't hide and seek?
you can see her voice is like much higher, I guess,
Just
in
like
these
them.
takes.
You're all the same. They
And
took
she's
her
a
away
little
from me.
angrier too, I guess you can say, in
But
those.
I've
So
been paid.
when I tried to put this one in there,
I
the
made them
piece of
all
trash
pay.
one,
And now
I kept trying over and over again I love that deep voice effect too. That was great. They just weren't matching up, so I ended up having to completely cut that line out, and that was the afterthought one too. And she had done all these other different outtakes, and I don't remember which one I ended up using. I think it might have been the first one that we just played there. Let me see here. Open with. Let's go back into the media player.
Isn't hide and seek fun? You're just like them. You're
Yeah,
all the
so
same.
you can see her voice is a little
Took it
different in
away
each one.
from
She
me.
chose some different emotions for each one,
But I made
and
them pay.
I think I ended
I
up
made
going
them
with
all
that
pay.
first one there because it just had so
And
much
now you'll pay.
innocence but anger all at the same time, and it was perfect. Yeah, all these. Oh, here, I'll play some other
This
lines
cannot
for
be
you.
happening. I don't understand. What are you? What's going on here? This cannot be happening. You cannot be real.
Yeah, so as you can see, like I had all these different lines in here. Let's check out one
Dear
more from
God, who
Charlie.
would do such a ghastly thing?
So as you can see right there, like no emotion really. It's just,
Dear God, who would do such a ghastly thing?
and I tried so hard to make some of them work to go with the script that I had written and whatnot, but it just wasn't working. You know, the person was supposed to be like, "Dear God," you know, when they saw the hanging person from the kid's swing, but it just ended up not working. So that was kind of the end of that, and I just kind of left it out and just went for the last little bit of dialogue at the end when Thomas meets Teddy, and then Teddy growls and kills him and whatnot. So as for me being in here, let me see. I think here's chapter 2. This is where I pick up from after fainting in the living room or whatever room you want to call it. Let's go ahead and bring this all the way back to the beginning, I think. So that little subtle groan that you just probably heard right there, that was me. I recorded one and used it a couple of different times in order to kind of get that in there and whatnot. My favorite, of course, was all the little girl whispering and whatnot. Here we go. Here's the whole scene with the crying baby. This is, like I said, the favorite from just about everybody. I guess I don't know what they were expecting, but you know, it was the surprise to find that little skull in there and whatnot. And so right there too, I must have forgotten to have put in a sound effect because there was supposed to be like some sort of bang or something that went on to make the character suddenly look in that direction. So we're going to expand out here and yeah, I think it was this sound effect here, whatever that is. Yeah, the girl laughing. I must have had the volume down too low on it. And then, of course, as we get out here, we have the whole squeaking of the tricycle. I tried to use directional sound a lot in this. I forgot to mention that. That's why I wanted everybody to watch this using headphones, because if you're watching it, there are certain scenes where the character suddenly looks to the left or the right, and all the sound comes from that direction. So that's why I wanted everybody to try and, if they could, watch this with headphones. But yeah, this whole scene here with this guy, like I said, was just pain, 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 nothing but pain trying to make this guy walk. And even looking at the edit, like, see right here, like he kind of travels without moving. That's because of my character is still moving, and he's just kind of an object floating on the screen, essentially. So these are all video bits right here, and each one of these little guys right here, if we expand out, this is all the ghost guy walking. So as you can see, as soon as I hit that, that's him kicking in, and my camera is still backing up, but he's kind of staying the same size and whatnot. And then when he appears here, like again, he kind of floats forward, which it's, you know, one little thing that I'm kind of nitpicking, but it ended up working. And you can also say like, oh, well, it's a ghost, you know, and they can travel and move and whatnot, so not that big of a deal, really. And that was some of that directional sound as well, so if we come back here, when she laughs. So I'm listening to this right now through headphones as I'm talking to you guys, and right there again, I hear it from my right before I heard it from my left. Then here's the eerie silence. And I love that first footstep because it has like this kind of rattle to it, which to me made it seem like it had rattled like the dinner plates and whatnot. So we go back and listen to that again. Got that last little, right at the end of the footstep where it's basically a nice little rattle. Like I said, it just ended up working out perfectly. So again, this is where I stopped recording and then made some changes to the scenery and whatnot. And then we bring the video back in once I like unpause the game, and just clever editing to make it happen. Oh, you're hoping for Sean. Yeah. I honestly didn't even think of that, but I was trying to think of something really scary to put in there. And I just ended up with a skull. This is one of my other favorite effects when we get the voice that pops in and person's nervous. There you go. Nervous breath was just timed perfectly, so little things like that, like I said, and we're still in that silent phase too. There's like very little going on other than just the rain. And so I wanted this to seem like Teddy was messing with Thomas and making him hallucinate. So the laughter that you're hearing, all that kind of stuff, that's all supposed to be part of Thomas's character. Or, I'm sorry, not Teddy's character. So now we're going to come to the point here where my wife did a voiceover. She was very excited to do that. And she got it, I think, on the first take. She tried several, but her first take was actually the best. I tried to have her sound like a little girl, too, you know, begging for help. One thing I forgot to mention, too, whenever I turned my light on, I actually added the sound effect of a match lighting, because I wanted it to seem like we're trying to light a lantern. And I suppose I probably should have gotten one that makes the sound of you striking a match, plus like the sound of a match burning for a second or two. But I just ended up going with the single match strike sound, which we'll hear again as the light turns on. So, and right after that is also the click sound of the regular flashlight, which I really couldn't get rid of. There's the little smiley face in the door. I didn't plan for that, it was just part of it. So that was voiced by my wife right there. So her single line of dialogue was, "Help, please don't leave me." Which I suppose I could have done because I got pretty high right there if I tried, but I'm trying to keep some realism here. So I'll show you some more little effects here. We got, we come up the stairs, and got this little guy up here, so you can see the scene that I was showing before. So right up there is the little goat guy. Then I threw in this little effect of, I don't know, the ghost face or something coming at you, and then boom, it disappears. So actually, I can show you essentially what it looks like if I zoom in here. And for now, we're just gonna take out this effect, and if I extend the original clip out, you can see I actually took several shots at this thing. And then let's just for now delete that so we can get this all in here. And that was it. Then I froze the camera, and then that was when I had stopped the game right there. So if we undo that and undo this one, and then we'll reverse that and kill this guy here. If I bring this all in, you can see like here's where I just unpaused the game and then I took one more shot. If we bring this back even further, see I'm coming in here and this is where I went in and tried to find exactly where I was standing. And prior to that, you can also see that I had to come in here and erase that guy as well. So if we just, there we go. So there we go. I went in and I took him out after the shot, got rid of all that kind of stuff, and then had to basically reset myself back up so that I could continue on with my whole show there. Oops a doodle. Let's undo all of that. Not that it matters because the movie's already done. There we go. Then yeah, again, we have the woman in the bathtub here. I wanted to have her be bloodier, but that ended up not working out just because once I made them all bloody and then came back several days later, the game had basically reset itself and gotten rid of all that kinds of stuff. So again, if you guys have any questions while we're going through this, please feel free to ask. Like I said, this is also a Q&A, not just about the movie. If you have any questions about me, whatever, feel free to ask. So with this, I wanted to kind of create a really slow, unnerving feeling of confusion and dread and just, what is this? What's going on? Is this an actual person? And then one thing you probably could not hear was just at that right time. It was perfect. If I took out the music and whatnot, let's just take out the music real fast. I think that was the music track. Or is it this one? No, I think it was that one. The ghoul there, like, moves his neck around. There we go. That was the music. And it makes all this, like, crunkling, crackling sounds. Right there at the same time as the little girl voice. Let's take that out, too. There you go. It was very subtle, but I was like, oh, that's perfect. And it ended up kind of getting drowned out by all the other sounds that were going on at the same time. And again, that was the same thing where I just kind of stopped the video, went in, deleted that chair, and then came back. So, move on, and then this time too, I kind of got the timing a little wrong. I wanted to make this all happen at the same time where I open the doors, kind of get this flash of light, and then step through to make it seem like this person was stepping into another dimension or whatever, because like the whole rest of the house is all trash, but this was supposed to be nice. But there was no way to really open the door and see the inside without seeing the outside, so I just kind of threw the flash in there and said, good enough. Then of course we had to have some really creepy tiled music going on in here. Which again, I think I found that from Laura's Horror Sounds page. Of course, that was one of my favorite little girl whisper things. I'm right behind you. Had to make sure I put that in there. I put it in the trailer, but it had to be in the movie as well.
Isn't hide and seek fun?
I don't understand.
There's Thomas the
What is
AI.
this?
You're just
That was the
like
best
them.
I could get out of him
All the
promotions-wise, so.
But I made them pay. I made them all pay. And now?
So that little sound effect right there, in between her subtle girl dialogue and the monster dialogue, is actually a Deathclaw sound effect. I threw a bunch of those in here, like all the sounds that you heard of the monster like stomping around with the exception of the footsteps was all Deathclaw sounds.
And now?
And so was that too, that growl. I took a Deathclaw growl and slowed it down dramatically to make it seem more, I don't know, visceral and lion-like, I guess you can say. And we have the same thing going on here at the very end, the post-credits. So yeah, that was all Deathclaw sound effects there. And like I said, I'd used it elsewhere, like this whole scene, minus the footsteps. So yeah, minus the footsteps. Like I said, that was all Deathclaw sound effects. Got this one here. I borrowed some of them from. And I think I used this one here, the dinosaur footsteps, to get the stomping feet. So, and then that was just a matter of making it louder and then making it quieter in order to create the effect of it coming and going. Here's the match. Quite simple and quick. You know, very subtle. It was something like I wanted to make it seem like we had just that little oil lantern and not an actual flashlight or anything like that, because it was supposed to be 1897, old times, whatnot. So. But yeah, so these are all the different assets here. Yeah, all of my crappy dialogue, which I will not be playing any of because I don't want to make you guys want to tear your ears out. So this is the music from the little girl's room. No, there you go, Laura's horror sound effects. She does amazing work. Not just that, but there's some of the laughs that I used. You're a man who likes to pay attention to detail. Oh my god, I become almost obsessive when it comes down to details, like of putting in things that I think everybody's gonna notice, but they don't. Like the tiniest little things, just because I want everything in my own brain to be perfect, and so it actually ends up being a curse. Like I said, doing that whole scene with the ghost that appears from the greenhouse room. You know, there was like 5 seconds worth of film, etc., but I spent several hours on it just trying to make it perfect. So, all right, there you go. That is the behind-the-scenes look on how I created Discarded. I want to thank you all for watching and for joining me on this. And like I said, if you guys got any questions, I'm going to hang out here for another minute or so. So if you got some questions, go ahead and fire away. Otherwise, I'm going to be signing off in a minute or so here. But again, thank you all so much for joining, watching the live stream, watching my other videos, all my nonsense. You know, I do this for you guys. I don't really make a ton of money off of this or anything like that, so I just do it for your entertainment. So as long as you guys are entertained, that's fine with me. I'm happy. So, yeah, let's see if there's anything else I want to go over here. Obviously, we have the trailer that I did. That was very early on after I just built a little bit of the house. Where's that? This guy here. And I actually threw in little subtle things like the hanging man. He was already there. SC, how are we? I think you just joined for this video? I don't know. I haven't seen any of your posts pop up just yet, so... Sorry, I was reading comments. I kind of totally missed that here. Let's jump back. Let me see. How far in are we? Oh, I just missed it. I wanted to show the hanging man without really showing him. Something I wanted to kind of do very subtly. As you can see, he's right there, and if you weren't really paying attention, you would have just kind of missed it. So, you zip through there. And there's, of course, that little light that we're supposed to see from the lighthouse.
You're going to die in there.
And I love that line, but I couldn't find a way to put it in the movie without it spoiling anything or whatever, just seeming wrong. So, I mean, I probably could have hit it in like a whisper or something like that, but I didn't. Lastly, we're going to take a look at the movie poster, because it's kind of hard to see on YouTube and Facebook where I had put it up, but I'd actually left a couple of very subtle hints as to who the bad guy was. We have a couple of little teddy bears here and some ghost monsters that I had AI create. And so the first one here, you can actually see a little bit better. There's the teddy bear there. And then very subtly, here in the fog, is the teddy bear monster. I did the same thing for the actual poster here. And again, we zoom in, and I had to redo it because I completely wanted to change this out down here and didn't think to save it as an editable file. But yeah, same thing. I threw the ghost monster in here, made him mostly transparent, and put the little teddy bear in there, and just very, very subtle hinting towards who the actual real bad guy is. Let's see, Luis, no questions, wondering way to send a tip. Oh, yeah, I did set up a membership for anybody who's interested in. It's a $2.99 a month thing through YouTube. Basically, that's the way if you want to send me a tip, like that's, you know, every month it'll send me like a $2.99 tip. But along with that, you'll get early access to my videos. For example, like I have two that I've uploaded today. One will be available tomorrow, and the other will be available on Wednesday. But with that membership, you can actually watch them as soon as they upload. So like anybody who's a member right now has access to see those videos early. And it's really the only perk, because I don't want to keep anything exclusive from anybody. You guys have access to everything. It's just if you give that money, whatever that, or pay that money, you get the early access to the videos. And then on the days that I normally release things, they will pop up as normal, and everybody will get to see everything. I'm not going to keep anything hidden from anybody behind any paywalls. Like I said, I don't really do this for the money. I do it to entertain you folks and whatnot. Lastly, I announced a little while ago that I'm going to be doing some sort of, I don't know, prize giveaway. I haven't really figured out the contest yet, but it's going to be open to anybody in the world. And you're going to stand a chance to win a t-shirt, a Spooner D t-shirt, male, female, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm going to pick the design, and I'll send you that to whoever the winner is. And then you're also going to get an autographed copy of the original script of Discarded. Again, I don't know what the contest is going to be just yet, but yeah, that's going to be coming up. And I'm also going to be doing another donation to a charity. I know I said I was only going to do it when we hit like channel milestones and whatnot, but it's going to be a while before we hit the next one, which is going to be 10,000 subscribers. And I'm just going to jump the gun, go ahead and do another donation coming up sometime in December. So I think that one's going to go to doggies and kitties and whatnot. I think it's the place where we got my dog, Perfect Pet Rescue. So I'll be doing that sometime in the future, and I'll make the announcement when the time happens. And I think that's going to do it. Again, thank you all so much for showing up and for, you know, the laughs and whatnot. You guys are awesome. I thank you so much for everything you guys do. You know, just watching my videos, communicating with me and whatnot. You know, this is a whole back and forth thing. I provide the entertainment, as bad as I am at it, and you guys seem to like it. So, yeah, we're just going to keep on rolling with that. Anything else? Oh, I think I had mentioned it in the videos I recorded today that after the medieval castle, I'm going to be doing a let's build at somewhere in Far Harbor. I think I'm going to redo the visitor center or something like that. And yeah, because that was kind of a request a while ago that I do something in Far Harbor, so I think I'm going to do that. Plus maybe something on the old Crabby Guy's island. His name escapes me at the moment, but I think I'll do that one after that. Cool. Alright, that's going to be me signing off. Once again, thank you all so much, and I will catch you next time. Until then, don't get irradiated.